check. Let's just. Stream. Nice, share stream. Got it done. Oh, one viewer. Who is unfortunate soul. Right, so will simply be a few minutes while I just share the links. Right, so while I'm getting everything ready, what's the basics for the stream? This stream is just basically here for the anti-ravenous campaign made by the British Red Cross in order to help lonely people during the COVID pandemic. Right, so that's it. So Right, so I'm just going to get started with some scripting. Right, so during this stream, you'll also have some playable demos to play around with, as well as I'll be explaining some of the scripts I use, just so you have more familiarity with them. Right, so let's get started. Right, so in the previous stream on Monday from the YouTube video, I basically did this, just got the basic setup started, as well as some basic components. I will be using some previous scripts here, just because I forgot how to write some of it. Alright, so now it's basically done, just so then there is direct correlation, and then just doing selector freeze, which is just making sure the direction the player is facing is always the direction they're going. And so if they are going along the horizontal axis, by the speed of it, within per each frame, they'll move along that axis. Same for the vertical axis, but instead of X, it'll be Z, or sometimes Z. And so basically, I would then need to create a new vector. Just to change that to that, and then just simply after that, move direction, this will basically make it transform in a specific direction of the vector 3 previously called up. And then outside of this loop, just simply get the character. This is the character controller, just basically controls the player. Dot move as the move direction inside it. This should all work. This is just purely done so I can move quickly without this, instead of me double guessing myself. Oh fuck, yeah, it's top down, so some stuff needs to be changed. So talk about one stuff that needs to be changed. Let's then fix the camera. Or let's do the witch. Let's do the witch. Actually, let's do the camera. That'll be easier. So simply get a new vector 3. Pos, which is equals to target or player dot position. Then go player pos y is equals to transform y. So what this basically does is keep the camera at the same y level without it changing. And finally, I need to create a new variable, public float This would basically make it easier for it to transition between different spaces without it being seeming janky. So this is the camera's position, which I'm typing in now. This is the player's position. This is calling for the velocity. Which I've got to type in. And what that basically does is set the constant movement. So now let's just check if that works. So if I unparent the camera, it should work. What's that? And I changed rotation to actually look at the player. And of course, rotation can always be altered, but I'm just doing it right now, like this for now, just to test. As you can see, there's some smoothness, and so when the player stops, the camera will always move to the middle of the player. Right, so something I forgot to mention to the last live stream was that this would be the first level where it introduces some basic elements such as being spotted and trying to avoid the AI. As more levels are introduced, more witches will be introduced, as well as more mechanics such as the mirror, and finally being able to move the walls in order to block off somewhere and to not get spotted. Some key aspects of the mirror will be destroying them. So let's just decrease. No, that's fine actually. Now I need to change the rotation of the player. There's two ways. Pressing the key will change it, or just have the player look at the mouse. I'll probably do the mouse. So what this needs to be changed is just simply, that's it. So this will change the rotation of the player as well as, that's it basically. So look at the camera and rotate. Now look at the mouse even. So let's get transform. And similar to the camera, it will have a smoothness. So let's just get that from there. And that is about it. So we don't need start. So let's just, let's create a new vector 3. That's basically going to be mouse position. Actually, why am I doing that? Mouse pause is equals to mouse. No, what was it? Pointer. Fuck, I forgot what it's called. Ah, it's cursor. Wrong wheel. So this is fun. As the mouse is classed as an input, it'll call for that, and finally it'll do that. And this will just basically do look at. And so I need to look at the x-axis, as this is the one that will be affecting the camera. Or maybe not. That seems like too much maths. So another way would just simply to have the player rotate every time a new key is pressed. So let's just create a new script. So what this will do is simply, if the player presses any vertical keys, that they'll flip to either positive or negative, and if they press, so as you can see here, if they press random or both run, or if they are WS or AWS, they'll flip to forward or back, and if they press anything else, they'll just simply rotate that way. Another possible way is just for the player to keep on trying to move with W, but that is too difficult for now. And I can't blast. So basically what I can do is call one player controller, then simply if input get axis is horizontal, vertical even, that would first be quite a good idea. Why aren't you working? Let's just put that over here. Actually, let's just do this. So what this basically does is, if they have any other rotations, it would just be like that. And let's check if it works. Yeah, it works. So time just to add in something to the player, so you know where it's actually facing. So let's just create 3D object cube, drag some form of face. This will just be there to make it easier to know where the player's facing. Now let's just give them both some color so it's easier to tell them apart from the base floor. Let's do body. Let's do one red and no blue. This makes no difference. It's just easier for development process so you know where stuff are facing. Now a possible change to make it easier to rotate is instead of get key down, you can use get key up. So if I just go to preferences, I think, no, project settings, there we are. It should work. So what can be done is between both knees is if, so let's just copy this. Why am I being stupid? Right, so this just basically means that if there are two conditions met, it will do it. So as you see, I'm not rotating until the mouse is up. And this also allows me the player to also rotate in that position until they're happy and just let go of the camera, of the button even. And as you can also see, you can press 2 buttons at the same time, which will then do something. Another thing I can quickly change is move it vertical. Because as them two are always subtracting 90, you don't need to do it more than once. So them two stay the same. Now, a quick thing you can always do is also to use rotate around central point. So then, as you can see, it does slightly move to the right or the left, so you can do something to reduce that. So what it will be is transform the rotate around. And so if I just quickly look through all of the fun stuff. And so let me just use citation quickly. It will use, where is it? Rotate around that, basically. So just simply in start, just do public transform by center, and then that center will be renderer there we are, send. Get component even renderer dot middle center dot bounds dot center. It needs to be rect3 instead, because otherwise it won't work. Then just simply needs to be transformed at rotate around. My center target what? So it just simply needs to do a float which will always equal to target what, then no. Wrong one. Will it be the way? Hopefully. Yeah, there we are. Just need to do the speed. Now hopefully this works without it. Oh lord, that's full. Okay, maybe screw that then. Well, of course, needing that to rotate around the middle isn't necessarily important, it's just there for quality of life. But as you can clearly see now, it's working. Now let's do our witch. Let's just give her some black clothes. And also let's just subdivide the top face. So it looks like she has a hat. Also looks like tower. Well, that will work for now. That was the fun part, unfortunately. So go back to the script. So they're done, that's done, that's done, that's done. And so using Unity Engine .ui, no AI. Then also public agent. Navmesh Ewan. Let's call it agent. So what Navmesh agent do is basically deal with how they move. Then let's do if physics dot raycast from. So this will basically be where it raycasts from. That will basically mean it will need always face forwards. And that will basically mean if it hits anything, it will ping it. And this is the range of the raycast. So if it's outside of that, it doesn't really affect it. and this will be checking if it has hit the player. And if it hasn't, it will always remain on the second case. So what we can also do is add in a countdown. So if the player has been spotted within a certain amount of time, or if the player was previously spotted but then lost being spotted, there will be countdown, and that will work as a helpful for the game, as it would need, as the AI might lose sight of it when crossing the corner. So let's just add in a public float, countdown, and a private float, which is just basically there to save the countdown. And then always my countdown will always equals 2. So that basically means that even if depending on what you put into the cut down field, it will always be the same for the private variable at the start. So let's do that. If countdown less than 0, countdown minus equals time dot delta time. Else if less than or equals to 0, it always equals to final state. So that's the spotting done. So now let's deal with fun stuff. Look, I'll need to do one more thing. Now I'll just basically look for the target and deal with it. So here basically if so I would just return. So that's basically saying if there's nothing, don't bother. Then if so let's just create another one, public int current point. And what I'll do is check the current point of where the player is, no, where the witch is along the waypoints. And I'll just set it to 0. Hopefully this will work, otherwise I need to change it. Let's just create two new entities. So waypoint 1 and waypoint 2 for now. Then let's just get rich. Let's do that, and hopefully, if you can see, so hopefully she'll move in between both points. And of course, one thing I forgot to do is call for an FMesh agent. So let's just do one more thing. Windows, components, I think, UI. Where do you find it? There we are. Then just simply select that. No. Bake area, agents, yep. Bake. So that's bake, walkable, bake. And so hopefully that'll work. So basically just need to change the agent type to 0. So it's just on the light. So also I will need to change it to a array. Fun. So arrays are a bit different than lists. Lists contain a lot of stuff, but array is, I don't know. They are different though. Now a quick change can be adding this to scripts. Yep, that works. So what that does is basically allows it to go between the 2 points. Now is it freaking out? So yeah, the game is basically working for now. Does anyone have any questions or not? Now the fun part. Yay. So let's deal with the distance. The AI stuff is going to be a bit complicated, so I'm just going to be doing it, copying and pasting from previous stuff. So the target would be just the player. So here, basically, in the raycast, firstly change the states to 1, and target is equals to it.transfer. So that's basically saying if the distance is less than the raycast range, it will suit the player. Else, it will just give up. So let's just go and test it. Then we can start on the actual gameplay stuff. Yep, as you can see here, the player's been spotted. and so the witch tried to pursue. So let's just change this to make it a bit more smaller. Let's also disable that as that's annoying. So let's just simply add more waypoints. Then so what needs to be done now is just to simply add in way more waypoints. So there'll be 8 there. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. As you can see, the witch will also be able to rotate around corners and just face towards the next. And that's the patrolling done, as well as the spotting and pursuing. I hope this works. Or not. So let's just create one more. 9. 11. 12. So now hopefully we'll go around in the circle. I'm just disabling the player so then the player doesn't interfere with what I'm trying to do. Yep, as you can see, it's completely worked. It's going to now go round the loop until the player, which will therefore interfere, and then it will, until the player stops being spotted, it will go back. So that's also add in countdown. So let's say 5 seconds. And now the fun stuff. So a key aspect of the game is that the player can't move as soon as they're spotted. That's going to be fun. So, mono behavior, players movement. That's what I've called it. Player control. Then just simply within the main body, a similar logic to the previous countdown even. So then if it's not enabled, then if greater than 0, so what that does, what time.delta time is, every frame, no matter the quality of your PC, it will subtract 0.1. Then if gem less than or equals to 0, so now let's go and test it. Of course, this can be changed to any other way where even yep, as you can see, the player can't move as far as I can try. Of course, this might be changed in order to decrease the speed or just move in a different manner. Right, so next up, then state. So we're in player. Actually, let's firstly deal with Rich. So create new tag. Rich. So scripts, create, end game. On trigger enter. If which is compared tag is just a simple way of doing all the stuff basically mentioned in your code. Right, so just need to change it to lowercase, otherwise it won't work. Yep. So Unity editor. We just get this from somewhere else. This is always pain in the ass, remember? So let's just get both of them. So the one currently commented out is basically ending the game within the editor. The second one is basically ending the game within when it's actually playable. Let me just get a copy of the campaign before. Yes, a bit late, but I will. Just move this back a bit. So let's just check if this works. I just need to add it. That will be a good idea. So what else needs to be done is just simply to add a collider. So there's going to be a box collider, which basically says if anything goes inside of it, the player there'll be a reaction. As you can see, the game ended. So, if you also want to avoid the prospect that the player might accidentally glide into the switch without being looked at, so player control dot enabled, or it is. So what else can be done is to check if it's enabled. Let's just get that. Get that. And so checking if they are both enabled. So if it's not enabled, and the witch has entered the trigger object, it will end the game. So yep, the witch spotted the player, and the game's been ended. So let's just say the player is behind her. As you can see, they're clearly both overlapping. Nothing happened. Yep. Right, so I think that's it. The basic premise is done. So what can be done now is repeating this over and over again, adding new stuff, adding new obstacles, and finally just adding new things. So another possible aspect of changing of a new mechanic is adding a rule that can be moved, similar to this. I've demonstrated now, so you can block off areas, dot reflections, and stuff like that. Right, so let's just create a new scene. So let's add the rich and play it into the prefabs. So then we can call them up further and just do more with them. And yeah, that's the basic basis of this game. Right, so I'm just going to be putting up a demo of it now. Let me just do some builds, then you lot can have a test. So let's just build it. Add open scenes, need to make one more change here. Build. Let's just create a new folder. One. Select folder and just build it. Right, so each session I'll be doing a new build after a new mechanic has been implemented or after something else has been done. And you'll access it from my itch.io page. Of course, this build will have lots of bugs, and so please expect that, as well as please understand that this is the first version of the build, and so there'll be more added in and after the stream, so keep an eye on it. Yep, there we are. And here's the link for anyone that wants to give it a go. Just simply, as soon as you open the link, press download and unpack. So I'm just going to have a quick break. Then I'll be back. Right, so guys, in a few minutes I'll end the stream, and that will be all for today. Hope to catch you in the next session, and ciao for now. While we wait until the session ends, I'll just be messing around in the game. If you are free to play the game when I'm not streaming, and if you have any feedback, get to me either via the next stream or any other ways you can just hold. Just to reiterate, this 20 hours challenge is for the British Red Cross Anti-Loneliness Challenge in order to help people feeling alone during the COVID pandemic and lockdown. Some other aspects which I forgot to mention is that the transform of each TM object is used in order to get the precise position the waypoints are made. Let's change all these two waypoints so it's easier to know which one's which. And if you want to view the stream anytime in the future or missed most of it, it will be going up onto my YouTube channel, and this is basically the link. On there you can also see previously made videos, the previous live stream, and just pieces of gameplay.